Tinubu commissions gas infrastructure projects. NBS says inflation rises to 33.69% in April. Biden challenges Trump to 2 debates. Portable fills bill conditions for 14 million naira debt. Aston Villa wins Champions League qualification. Now the news in detail. No fewer than 5 commissioners on Wednesday resigned as members of the State Executive Council. This is coming amid the political crisis bedeviling the state following the leadership battle between the incumbent governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and his immediate predecessor, Nyesom Wike. Commissioner for Education, Professor Prince Chinedu Mom, was the first to hit the public with his resignation notice containing a letter he addressed to the state governor through the Office of the Secretary to the state government. Professor Mom referenced a toxic working environment as his reason for resignation. Shortly after the report of Mom's resignation, the Commissioner for Housing, Gift Wallu, also tendered his resignation from Governor Sim Fubara's government. Wallu, in his resignation letter, which was contained in a letter dated May 15 and directed to the governor, thanked Fubara for the privilege to serve in his government. Similarly, the state's Commissioner for Environment, Austin Ben Chioma, also announced his resignation from the cabinet on Wednesday. In his letter of resignation, Ben Chioma, who thanked the governor for the privilege to serve, attributed his decision to lingering political crisis in the state. Also, River State Commissioner for Social Welfare, Inime Aguma, has resigned from Governor Siminalayi Fubara's government. In the same vein, River State Transportation Commissioner Jacobson Mbina has resigned his appointment, bringing the number of commissioners who left the State Executive Council on Wednesday, May 15, to 4. Analyst says that Okojombo-led River State House of Assembly does not have the constitutional right to reinstate or re-elect any member to occupy a position in the House. A political analyst, Ifeanyi Chukwu Ugochukwu, stated this when he featured an ATN Open Conversation.
After the defection of Edison Ehie-led members, that their seats were declared vacant by Edison Ehie. Their seats were declared vacant. So when you declare a seat vacant, is there any other miracle? How was the magic of lifting 3 people out from the vacancy? Are you a law court? Are you is the PDP Okojombo-led house a law court that has on their own arrogated the power of reinstating the people that their seats have been hitherto pronounced vacant? So these are the confusion I was trying to wrap around my mind. The government should explain more, and they have
call for more explanation from the Okojombo-led House of Assembly.
The government should explain more, and the House, the factional leader of the House, should begin to explain to Rivers people how he got the names, or are there other things on the tune?
Call that the new Rivers House of Assembly list had emerged recently with suspended affected members being reinstated into the Okojombo-led Assembly. River State Executive Council has approved the award of a contract for the construction of the main Trans-Kalabari Road project at 222.1 billion naira. The council approved the contract during its meeting on Wednesday, May 15, presided over by Governor Siminalayi Fubara and attended by the Deputy Governor, Professor Odu, and other members of the government house. Speaking after the meeting, River State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Warisenibo Joseph Johnson, said the project would be funded with savings from the internally generated revenue. Johnson said that a 30% mobilization fee had already been paid for the project designed to be completed within 32 months, adding that the contractor was expected to move men and materials to the site immediately. Johnson, in a statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Nelson Chukudi, said that the contractual sum of 222.1 billion naira was bigger than what was being spent on the Port Harcourt Ring Road project. Niger Delta Development Commission has warned against self-medication in the treatment of malaria. NDDC Assistant Director Education, Health and Social Services, Imelda Irene, issued checks. She advised people to go to hospitals for treatment when they have the symptoms. Malaria Program Manager Delta State, Dr. Mrs. Julie Anaya, also advised residents of the state against self-medication. She said symptoms of malaria include weakness, vomiting and miscarriage in women, stressing that there is a tendency for one to fall into coma when the temperature is high. Following the controversy trailing the 10-year extension of local government chairman in Akwa Ibom State, the State House of Assembly Committee on Local Government has commenced a fact-finding tour of all the 31 council areas across the state to evaluate their performances in the last 6 months. The legislature and Governor Umar Eno had initially traded different positions on the 10-year extension of the Transition Committee chairman in the state. Eno had in a letter to the Assembly requested it to pass a resolution for 10-year extension of the sitting local government transition committees in the 31 local government areas whose tenure expires on June 7, 2024 for another 6 months. Speaking with newsmen, the House Committee Chairman on Information, Honorable Jerry Otu, said the tour is in line with the standing order of the House to evaluate the performance of the local governments before making a recommendation to the governor for extension. Otu represents Ikotekpene Obotakara State constituency, explained, however, that the House did not throw away the governor's request as reported in a section of the media, but only insisted that it should use the period to assess and evaluate the performances of the transition chairman. Speaker of Cross River State House of Assembly, Elvet Ayamben, has charged newly inaugurated members of the State Planning Commission to work in synergy, ensuring that they move the state to a higher level of growth. He advised that they work optimally for the development of all Cross Riverians. He gave the advice when the Assembly confirmed Governor Basio Otu's nominees for appointment as Vice Chairman and Commissioners of State Planning Commission. He cautioned them not to make mistakes that will mar the Commission and the administration. The confirmation followed the Assembly's consideration of the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Public Service Matters, Public Petitions and Conflict Resolution presented by its Chairman and Deputy Majority Leader of the House, David Zata. According to the chairman of the screening committee, the nominees were invited to appear before them for screening on the 8th of May 2024, where they were subjected to a rigorous question and answer session. Abia State Government and the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control have declared a collective war against fake drugs, substandard foods and other unwholesome products in the country. The partnership that Abia State is poised to maximize the positive energy of youth and channel them to positive ventures. Earlier in our address, the DG NAFDAC, Professor Adeye, who is in state for stakeholder engagement with the micro, small and medium enterprises, emphasized NAFDAC's fight against fake drugs, substandard foods and other unwholesome products. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday commissioned some gas infrastructure projects in Imo State, southeast Nigeria. The president joined the event virtually from the Aso Rock in Abuja. Some of the dignitaries physically in attendance were Delta State Governor Sheriff Oboweri, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Henikin Lopobiri, and his counterpart for the gas sector, Ekperikpe Ekpo. The Group Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, Melekari, was also present. Operatives of the Enugu Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on Wednesday announced the arrest of 23 suspected internet fraudsters in Enugu State. The commission in a statement said the suspects were arrested on May 10, 2024 in Uweze, Nsukka, and Enugu Metropolis. It said the arrest followed actionable intelligence concerning their alleged online criminal activities. Items recovered from them include 3 cars, mobile phones, laptops, one point-of-sale machine, and several incriminating documents. The anti-graft agency added that they will be charged to court as soon as investigations are concluded. And the Enugu state government are not on the same page as the government consummates an agriculture partnership agreement with Pragmatic Farms Limited. The partnership between the Enugu state government and Pragmatic Farms Limited, worth 100 billion naira, is for the revival of the moribund United Palm Products Limited. However, the Labour Party in the state had opposed the project, alleging that it might be a conduit to siphon the state's resources. The party, in a statement signed by its chairman, Comrade Kasma Uchenabo, and publicity secretary Honora Odo, questioned the property of the transaction, pointing out that the company in question was allegedly registered only 4 days before it signed the agreement with the Enugu government. It accused the government of planning to use the alleged newly registered company as a conduit to siphon the resources of the state, saying that there was no indication that the company had the track record and capacity to manage the enterprise. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa of Ondo State has reiterated his administration's commitment to prioritize the security of lives and property for farmers to boost food production and reduce hunger in the state. He made the pledge at the inauguration of the new executive members of the Ondo State Agricultural Commodities Association on Wednesday in Akure. The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Olaide Adelami, said the time had come for farmers to go into sustainable farming to increase production. He said administration had committed a lot of resources in the development of agriculture and promotion of food sufficiency in the state. Adewa, while congratulating the new Osaka executives, called on farmers to increase food sufficiency, reduce prices of agricultural products, and leverage on the use of technology to boost production. Earlier, Chief Abiodun Adejo, the new Osaka chairman, who appreciated government support to farmers in the state, said more would be done to actively involve the association in formulation of government policies to ensure food security. Ondo State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has suspended Senator Jimo Ibrahim. Ibrahim, who represents Ondo's South Senatorial District in National Assembly, was suspended for alleged anti-party activities. The lawmaker was suspended by members of the APC Executive Committee of Ibotako Ward 11 in Okitipupa local government area of Ondo State. The notice was signed by ward executive members including Bakar Osuf, Tore Owoseli, Oloimi Idou, Borewalu Loimi. Ibrahim's suspension is coming after he lost out in the party's governorship primary election in the state. Police in Ibadan on Wednesday arraigned one Suleiman Ikudaisi, 37, who allegedly tampered with the cops. Whose address was not provided, is charged with tampering with the corpse, but pleaded not guilty before the court. The prosecutor, Inspector Toy Ibrahim, told the court that the defendant committed the offense on May 11 at 3 p.m. at Muslim Cemetery, Ibadan. Ibrahim alleged that the defendant removed some bones from the corpse in contravention of Section 242, subsection 1b of the Criminal Laws of Oyo State 2000. The magistrate granted the defendant bail in a sum of 200,000 naira with 2 sureties in like sum. She adjourned the case until July 16 for hearing. Ebonyi State House of Assembly has approved a total sum of 518,260,000 naira for the conduct of the forthcoming local government area election in the state. The Ebonyi State Independent Electoral Commission has, through the state governor, Francis Nwifuru, requested the money for the smooth conduct of the election slated to hold on July 20, 2024. The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Moses Odonwa, during plenary at the Assembly chambers, read the letter from Governor Nwifuru requesting the approval of the budget for the election. Some of the House members who spoke during the plenary includes the Deputy Whip, Honorable Arinze Chukwu, representing the Shelu South State constituency, Honorable Onyebuchi Obadu, Ivo State constituency, and Honorable Esther Agu of the Aku North State constituency. The members urged their colleagues to support and approve the proposal for immediate commencement of electoral activities for the smooth conduct of the election. Police in Benue State said it does not have the information about the woman who allegedly stabbed her husband to death over sex in Makurdi. Benue State Police Public Relations Officer denied knowledge of the incident when some newsmen requested a confirmation of the reported incident. However, it was gathered that the 29-year-old woman, identified as Towase, reportedly stabbed her husband to death after an argument over sex at Wusha Village, Makurdi local government area of Benue State. According to the story, the suspect had been on the run and police have commenced an investigation into the murder. Nigerian army is reassured of improved security in Kogi residents, especially with the rising cases of kidnapping in the state. Major General Obinna, the general officer commanding 2 divisions of Nigerian Army, said this when he addressed newsmen in his maiden operational visit to the 12th Brigadier of the Nigerian Army in Lokoja. Onuboju said that nothing will be spared to ensure peace in all areas of his responsibility, including Kogi. He lauded Governor Ahmed Ododo for his prompt visit to the affected communities to reassure them of their safety, as well as meeting with traditional rulers in the area to ensure peace. He said that his visit to the state was to motivate and reassure troops that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tariq Lagbaja, was fully behind them in all their operations. He reaffirmed the commitment of the Nigerian Army to prioritize the welfare of officers and soldiers, as well as putting in place adequate measures to take care of the families of fallen heroes. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested over 80 suspected drug dealers with over 3,000 kg of drugs in the Federal Capital Territory between January and March. Kabul, commander of narcotics, NDLEA FCT Command, said this in an interview with newsmen on Wednesday in Abuja. He said that over 50 suspects had been prosecuted, adding that out of the number, 12 had been convicted and sentenced to different jail terms. He said that the command had been going after the drug peddlers and records were there. The NDLEA commander said that the current situation of the drug abuse in the FCT was not a peculiar one, as it was the same world over. He said that drug abuse was a major concern to all countries in the world. He said that all regional and global bodies were advocating for global concerted efforts to deal with the challenge of drug trafficking and abuse. Analysts have frowned at the rising act in early marriage practices in the country. A public affairs analyst, Della Waribo, speaking on Atlantic Television Blowout, stated that early child marriage below the age of 18 is unconstitutional, illegal, and against Child Rights Act.
For whether a male or a female, below the age of 21, you must get the consent of the parent or guardian. So, following situation and how the day goes by, development and all of that, we have the CRA, that's the Child Rights Act. This now brought it down to 18 because I think it's following international best practices. This now brought it down to 18. So before you can get married in Nigeria, you must have attained the age of 18. So him now, that's the speaker.
Explaining further, Della Waribo emphasized on the need for adequate education for vulnerable children, especially the girl child.
Might be forced into marriage. One, because they do not have who to talk to. They do not have who to fight for them. And secondly, they lack education. I think he should be talking about how these girls should be. If he comes out and say he wants to educate 100 girls in his constituency, that's a laudable one, because if you educate a woman or a female, you are educating the world, because we give birth to children. We give birth to the nation.
Recall that the Speaker, Niger State House of Assembly, Abdul Malik Sakindaji, had discontinued his support for the planned mass wedding of 100 orphans in his constituency, asking the Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy, to investigate claims of child rights abuse. Operatives of the Adamawa State Police Command has arrested 5 youths identified as Sheila Boys, a grouping famous for robbing residents of the belongings, mostly phones and similar light gadgets. The police command said the 5 had been on its wanted list for a while. In the statement released on Wednesday by police image maker Suleiman, the command said the suspects were arrested during routine operations at criminal hideouts and black spots, including Yola Market, Wuro Hausa and Damare in Yola Town, Yola South local government area. The command urged members of the public to help the fight against Sheila Boys by being vigilant and reporting suspicious movements. Sokoto State Governor Ahmed Aliyu has said that the state's internally generated revenue has risen from 2.6 billion naira to 3.8 billion naira in less than a year. He dropped his hint while addressing the annual conference of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, which took place in Abuja. According to him, the improvement recorded in the state's IGR resulted from the measures introduced by his administration on tax collection and management. He added that the present administration had executed various people-oriented projects, cutting across road networks, water supply, empowerment programs, and improving the health conditions of the people of the state, amongst others. Aliyu assured the CITN of his administration's commitment to collaborate with the body to further enhance tax collection in the state. 22 Quick Response Wing of Nigerian Air Force in Nasarawa State has intercepted a busload of Indian hemp and arrested a 32-year-old man, Yusuf Ibrahim, from Bakin Ria, Lafia East Development Area. It was gathered that Ibrahim was found in possession of 80 bags of cannabis sativa, known locally as Indian hemp. The interception occurred during a patrol mission aimed at combating criminal activities such as kidnapping, banditry, and armed robbery in the state. The suspect was intercepted along the Shabu area of Lafia North Development Area. He attempted to flee in a J5 vehicle loaded with illicit substance, but was apprehended by Nigerian Air Force personnel. The driver and other accomplices escaped into the forest at Bakin Regia. Ibrahim confessed to transporting the drugs for an individual named Moses Essien, based in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. The Nigerian Air Force handed Ibrahim to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Nasarawa State for further investigation and prosecution. A man whose identity is yet to be known has set a mosque on fire in Laraba, Abasawa, in Gezawa local government area of Kano State. According to reports, the incident occurred in the early hours of Wednesday and left worshippers injured. The paper reported that members of the community were observing prayer when the incident happened. A member of the community who asked not to be named narrated that the man used petrol and lit fire while the people, about 40 of them, were praying. He locked the mosque after the fire. Reports further said that at least 20 worshippers have sustained serious injuries, have been rushed to Murtala Mohammed Nagoda, has approved the immediate suspension of a medical officer at the Mohammed Abdullahi Wasser Teaching Hospital over multiple complaints of negligence. He alleged that the suspected doctor left the facility without informing any officer or the hospital management. He explained that several calls were placed to the suspended medic, but she kept responding to be within the premises without being in the doctor's quarters and never showed up till the morning, thereby leaving a dialysis patient in a frightened state. The executive secretary further heightened that the oaths taken by doctors to protect lives should be their first point of call in operating within the system and urged everyone to sit up. He advised doctors to make proper shift arrangements with their colleagues if there is any need for them to be absent. Kano Hisba Board has arrested 20 men and women for engaging in gender-inclusive bathing in the state. Following complaints from locals, members of Operation Kwada Badala conducted the arrest at a recreational center on Ring Road. According to Abubakar, the Deputy Command General of the board, the offense was against the Hisba legislation, which prohibits bathing in water with people of either gender in the same space. He expresses concern about the act, saying that it could have been substituted with something better than would have brought them blessings from God. In addition to urging parents and guardians to closely monitor their children's whereabouts, he stated that the suspects will face appropriate punishment when the investigation is concluded. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back right after this break. Please stay with us.
Get ready! As Morrison Communications Limited proudly presents Children's Day Celebration 2024.
Arts. La Small Hotel and Resorts, number 9, Room Calabo off Waterlines, Basta, Port Harcourt.
On Saturday, May 25th, starting at 8 a.m. Inter-school march past competition,
Dance competition, drama competition. Parents, teachers and children alike, don't miss out on the fun with Uncle Clown bouncing castle as we cut the Children's Day cake. Admission is just 2,000 naira per child. For participation and sponsorship opportunities, call us now 0806 673 8689 and 0810 634 1777.
This event is proudly sponsored by the Last Mall Hotel and Resort with Atlantic Television Network and 99.5 Wish FM Port Harcourt, Lesuka Event Center, Gate Place Hotel, 8 Ball Hotel and Lounge, Oma Studio, Osgia Table Water.
remember that every child is unique. See you there. This event is managed by Pace Expressions Arts.
Special guest appearance, Hilda Dokubo, Children's Day Celebration 2024.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has written the Senate seeking for the screening and subsequent confirmation of 4 persons appointed as members of the board of the Securities and Exchange Commission. In the letter read by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, President Tinubu forwarded to the Senate Omomotimi Agama for the position of Director General, while Frana Chukwogo has been appointed as Executive Commissioner Legal and Enforcement of the Security and Exchange Commission. Also appointed are Bola Ajomale as Executive Commissioner Operations and Samia Hassan Usman as appointed as Executive Commissioner corporate services. Recall that in April, President Tinubu approved the appointment of 7 persons as members of the SEC pending their confirmation by the Senate. But only 4 names were transmitted to the Senate for confirmation, and Tinubu did not give reasons for his including names of the other 3 professionals. In the letter, the President, who explained that the appointment was in compliance with the provisions of Section 3 and 5, subsection 1 of the Investment and Security Act of 2007, said confirmation and appointment of the Director General and Commissioners of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Nigerian Senate has received a letter from President Bola Tinubu requesting approval for the federal government's takeover of 2 state airports and refund of 24.6 billion naira to the states. The President's letter was read on the floor of the Senate by President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, on Wednesday. The promissory note is to reimburse Lafia Cargo Airport, Nasarawa State, 9.5 billion naira, and Kebbi State International Airport, 15.1 billion naira. The takeover approved in July 2022 by the previous administration includes the Lafia Cargo Airport and Sir Ahmadu Bello International Airport of Benin, Kebbi.
That a promissory note in the sum of 9,542,000 or 542,651,786 naira 11 kobo only be issued to Nasarawa State Government as refund for the takeover of the newly constructed Nasarawa Airport. 2. That a promissory note in the sum of 15 billion 137,336,095 naira and 80 kobo and 88 kobo only. That is 15 billion 137 million 336,095 naira 88 kobo be issued to Kebbi State Government as refund for the takeover of Benin Kebbi International Airport.
The upper chamber, however, referred the request to its Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, which is expected to review and report back to the Senate. Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima stated this while flagging off the 2024 inaugural flight of pilgrims to Saudi Arabia at Sir Ahmadu Bello International Airport, Benin, Kebbi. Shettima narrated the importance of Hajj in the lifespan of Muslims, noted that the federal government, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, took the bulk of the challenges before they could arrive at this year's Hajj fairs. In his remark, the Sultan of Sokoto Alhaji Mohammed Said Abubakar III, who commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his Vice President, Kebbi State Government, and NACON for making the inaugural flight possible in Nigeria, appreciated the former governor of Kebbi State, Alhaji Saidu Nasamu, for constructing the Benin Kebbi International Airport. House of Representatives has summoned the National Security Advisor to appear before it and explain why billions appropriated for the maintenance of presidential air fleet are not put to use, making the #1 citizen travel in a chartered commercial flight. Moving a motion during plenary, Honorable Satomi, who represented Jere Federal Constituency, noted that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was forced to fly in a chartered plane in April from Netherlands to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to attend the World Economic Forum, while Vice President Kashim Shettima similarly used a chartered jet recently as presidential jets were undergoing repairs.
The presidential air fleet was formed preliminarily to provide a rapid, safe, and comfortable airlift for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Vice President, and other very important persons, as may be directed by the President through the Office of the National Security Advisor. Note that appeals are mainly at the behest of the Presidency, National Assembly, that is Senate President, Speaker, and the House of Representatives, Judiciary, Chief Justice of the Federation, in some instances to pursue the foreign policy goals via the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Further note that the budget of the Presidential Air Fleet is under the Office of the National Security Advisor as appropriated yearly by the National Assembly. Alarmed by the report on various media platforms, particularly Sahara Reporters on 28 April 2024, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was forced to travel in Saudi Arabia on a chartered flight for the World Economic Forum in Riyadh from Netherlands, where he had gone for a series of economic and diplomatic engagement because the presidential jet developed fault in Netherlands.
Making contribution on the motion, Honorable Sada Soli noted that the life of the president and the sovereignty of the country is at risk. On his part, the House Leader, Honorable Julius, noted that at this time of insecurity, it is shocking that the Vice President had to take a commercial flight for an official trip.
Mr. Speaker, if this country should find itself in this kind of situation, then I don't know what will happen tomorrow. The life and the security of our president, and indeed the sovereignty of this country, and perhaps even the vice president had this kind of snag with his aircraft. We don't know what is going on within the administration of the PAF, Presidential Air Fleet Administration. What is really going on? We know how much money this House budgeted in order to take care of this Presidential Air Fleet. What is going on?
When this news broke, some of us were shocked. In this current world of massive terrorist agitations and engagements, of gross insecurity, where we have seen cases where security officers at regular airports have been compromised, that the Vice President will take a commercial flight somewhere, in spite of the number of aircraft we have in the fleet, is amazing. It shows very clearly that something is wrong somewhere. And as a national responsible House, we have to show concern, because if we do not do so now, this may continue.
The Deputy Speaker, however, urged relevant committee to investigate the incidents as it deems it fit and report back to the House. Federal government on Wednesday announced a series of activities leading to the anticipated nationwide deployment of its presidential compressed natural gas buses and tricycles to replace the petrol-powered ones on May 29. Federal Executive Council, chaired by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had on Monday mandated all government ministries, departments and agencies to procure only vehicles and generators powered by CNG initiative. In a statement released on Wednesday, the program director of the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, Michael Oluwabemi, said that federal government will embark on an extensive pre-launch itinerary aimed at engaging stakeholders and showcasing critical gas supply projects to fostering sustainable energy solutions and reducing carbon emissions. On May 16, the team will embark on an inspection of the Jets and Meccano factory along with representatives from the Labour Ministry, Labour unions and the Nigerian media. The federal government also disclosed that it will commence another 6-day inspection tour of the Kojo factory at the Enugu-Onitsha site from May 24 to receive the first set of assembled tricycles, buses, cylinders and kits from the regions for official launch. Former Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has been granted a 300 million naira bail following his arraignment on 4-count charge of printing new notes without observing due process. Emefiele pleaded not guilty when the charge brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission was read. The ex-governor of the CBN is the sole defendant in the charge before Justice Marianne of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Maitama. Other conditions attached to the bill include that he should produce 2 sureties who must each possess titled property within the Maitama area of the Federal Capital Territory. Justice Aneni ordered the defendant to deposit his travel documents with the court and should not travel outside the country without the permission of the court. The judge adopted the conditions attached to a similar bill earlier granted in Emefiele by Justice Hamza Muazu, another judge of the High Court of the FCT, before whom he is being tried on another criminal case. She adjourned till May 28 for the commencement of the trial. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has pledged to conduct a thorough investigation into the corruption allegations against the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle. Spokesman of the anti-graft agency, Dele Oyewale, gave this assurance in a statement on Wednesday during an interface at the EFCC headquarters in Abuja between the EFCC and members of the Tinubu Youth and Women Network, a political pressure group that has been advocating for an investigation into Matawalle's alleged corruption. Matawalle is being investigated over allegations of mismanagement of public funds and resources during his tenure as the governor of Zamfara State from 2019 to 2023. Recall that the EFCC had announced in May 2023 that it was investigating Matawalle over allegations of massive corruption, award of fictitious contracts, and diversion of over 70 billion naira. Chairman of the Tripartite Committee on National Minimum Wage, Boka Aji, has urged members to approach the final stage of their assignment with honesty, patriotism, respect and accommodation in national interests. Aji, who made the call at the 4th plenary meeting of the committee, also stressed the need to move beyond emotional appease and embrace rational thinking, considering the numerous competing demands from citizens. He urged members of the committee to focus their minds on doing the right thing, even when such a decision is difficult and goes against the committee's position. A statement issued on Wednesday by the head of press, National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission, Emmanuel Njoku, said the committee chairman, a former head of civil service of the Federation, acknowledged the friendly, cordial and informative nature of the assignment so far, expressing hope that the remaining work would be completed with a sense of responsibility and love for country. He encouraged robust discussions, understanding and acceptable recommendations for a new national minimum wage. National Information Technology Development Agency, the Defense Headquarters and other security agencies are exploring ways to develop and deploy digital solutions to address the security challenges facing the country. The digital solutions will be in form of drones, artificial intelligence and usage of other digital assets to combat terrorism, kidnapping and banditry across Nigeria. NITDA is also bringing Cisco International, which has been involved in designing various digital platforms and assets for the U.S. military to enable Nigeria to overcome the current security challenges as soon as possible. The Director General of NITDA, Kashifu Inua Abdullahi, disclosed this during interactive session with reporters at the Hotel Continental Abuja on Wednesday, May 15. Abdullahi used the forum to unveil the strategic roadmap and action plan 2024-2027 of NITDA, said the roadmap aligned with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. In the 8-point agenda of the present administration, he explained that the partnership with DHQ and other security agencies with the involvement of Cisco would present opportunities for robust engagement, innovations and co-creation of digital technology and assets to combat terrorism and other security challenges facing Nigeria. National Senior Citizens Center has unveiled Geriatric Center Council sector in Nigeria in a one-day capacity enhancement workshop in the Social Center Sector Skills Council and Training in Abuja, and presentation of national policy guidelines for quality assurance in the social center and standard operating procedures for agencies and care setting. This is aimed at creating productive opportunities in the geriatric social center sector for caregivers, training providers, care agencies, and care facility operators in both states and local governments seeking sustainable impactful ways of rendering quality and dignifying care services to older persons within communities. The President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by his Special Advisor on Health, Dr. Salma Ibrahim, appreciates NSCC, recognizing the senior citizens who contributed to the growth of Nigeria, attributing that plan was in line with the revenue hope agenda of Mr. President.
Congratulate Federal Ministry of Health from the work that started on a very small scale to a large scale today. We are witnessing almost 20 institutions that have a unit, and these institutions will not just have for providing quality care services, but also capacity building, just like my colleague from the National Council of Nurses and Midwifery mentioned. It's not just about the capacities of those working also in the institutions, including the caregivers that are at home. We also extend those trainings because a lot happens within the home. So home-based care is another approach that we are also promoting to ensure that our elderly people continue to get access to care services so that they can be physically sound, mentally sound, but also to be able to contribute to national development. Without their contribution, we are not bridging gaps between the younger generation and the older generation. So it's like you are a tree without roots because you don't know where you're going to. And we need to strengthen those aspects and those capacities to be able to see that all the investment we are putting in care of senior citizens, it has to continue from where we are and do more from now so that we have that seamless transition from generation to generation. And that gives us hope, which is in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's relief hope agenda. It gives hope for the future, that when you invest today and maximally to your country development, you're going to have a better life in the future.
Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali, represented by Dr. John Overe, restates the ministry is committed in providing good health care and social welfare of Nigerian senior citizens.
As we unveil the geriatric social care sector in Nigeria, we are not just launching a set of standards and guidelines. We are affirming our unwavering commitment to the well-being of our senior citizens. The theme of this conference, Geriatric Social Care Sector and Value Chain, Case for Social Investment, encapsulates our vision to create a society where every older person is valued, respected, and provided with the highest quality of care. The Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare is committed to the health care for the aged through the provision of clinical care, training, and research and health sector support. With a vision to achieving affordable universal health coverage for the aged through improving health population outcomes and healthy life. As we march forward with the sector-wide approach to improve health outcomes, we have referenced the gap between the what's increasing life expectancy, the quality of healthcare needs, and the socio-economic well-being of older people in Nigeria.
Earlier in our open remarks, Director General, National Senior Citizen Center Makaro, who gave the background and aims of the program, said NSCC intervention of older persons are based on assessment and understanding of needs of older persons. Therefore, investing in the care of older persons can never be a loss to the government.
And also that interventions are based on assessments and through understanding of needs and context of older persons, and that investment in processes and systems to cater for the needs of older persons are indeed strategic opportunities. So investing in care for older persons can never be a loss to Nigeria. In fact, the disadvantage and the loss is where you don't invest. The burden of care, the compromising of the capital savings of family members, the working population, is a huge cost than if we invested, as we are investing now, in building the systems, the mechanisms, and the structures to truly care, professionally, formally care for our older persons. So the National Senior Citizen Center, through its strategic roadmap on aging 2022-2032, the National Plan of Action on Aging detailed in very clear terms the development of a paid skilled workforce, and also the development of care quality assurance system, and of course the development of systems and mechanisms to engage the states, saying that issues of health and social care are on the concurrent list. And so our entry point really is through the states.
Our Abuja correspondent Moses Joseph reports that the NSCC also inaugurated Nigeria Geriatric Social Care Sector Skills Council, unveiled national benchmark and minimum standards for assessment of the social care settings, national occupation standards level 1 to 5 and national policy guidelines for quality assurance and the social center and standard operating procedure for care agencies and care settings in Nigeria 2024. Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Chris Mayaki, has said that the federal government is working to reconstitute the governing councils of the universities. He said the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, had put in place a panel to work on the list. The NUC Executive Secretary said the council will be inaugurated once the list was consummated. Mayaki spoke with education reporters in Abuja on Wednesday. The Executive Secretary was responding to the 2-week ultimatum issued by the Academic Staff Union of Universities for government to reconstitute the Governing Council of Public Universities. He appealed to the leadership of ASU to be patient with the government during the period. The NUC had on June 22, 2023 announced the dissolution of Governing Council of all federal universities and boards of other agencies and parastatals in the country. Aviation unions, including the National Union of Air Transport Employer Association of Nigeria, the Association of Nigerian Aviation Professionals, and the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporations and Technical and Recreational Employees, have instructed Nigeria agency staff to begin strike action on Monday, May 20, 2024. This is disclosed in a letter dated May 14, 2024, obtained by our correspondent on Wednesday. The strike stems from the management's failure to address 45 months of minimum wage arrears and consequential adjustments of staff members. The union, represented by the 3 general secretaries, Ocheme Oba, Abdurazak Saidu, and Wahid Siriku, who wrote a letter addressed to NIMET's Director General, Professor Charles Anoske, with the subject line, failure to pay 45-month arrears of minimum wage consequential adjustment, 14 days ultimatum. The ultimatum had been issued and management responded with what seemed like a compromise, paying off the 45 months of arrears in installment. National Bureau of Statistics on Wednesday said inflation rate increased to 33.69% in April 2024 from the 33.20% of March 2024. This was contained in a document titled Consumer Price Index April 2024, which noted that the rate of increase showed 0.49 percentage points in comparison to that of the previous month. The data also noted that a year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 11.47 percentage points higher compared to the rate recorded in April 2023, which was 22.22%. The report said this shows that the headline inflation rate year-on-year basis increased in the month of April 2024, which, when compared to the same month in the preceding year, that is April 2023. According to MBS, on a month-on-month basis, the headline inflation rate in April 2024 was 2.29%, which was 0.73% lower than the rate recorded in March 2024. It said that means that the month of April 2024, the rate of increase in the average price level is less than the rate of increase in the average price level in March 2024. Central Bank of Nigeria has activated plans to double foreign currency remittance flows through formal channels by granting 14 new international money transfer operators approval in principle. This was disclosed in Abuja on Wednesday by the bank's acting director of corporate communications, Mrs. Hakama Sidi Ali. Ali stated that the initiative will help increase the sustained supply of foreign exchange in the official market by promoting greater competition and innovation among IMTOs to lower the cost of remittance transaction and boost financial inclusion. The increase in number of IMTOs is one of the primary actions initiated by CBN's Remittance Task Force, overseen by Governor Cardoso as a collaborative unit pulling together specialists to work closely with the private sector and market operators to facilitate the ease of doing business in the remittance ecosystem of Nigeria. Nigerians have decried high charges collected by firms engaged by Turkish government for visa processing. Turkey visa fees have been pegged between 335,000 and 827,000 for single and multiple entry. Turkey is among the few countries that collected dollars for visa fees before the Nigerian government resent directive to embassies to collect naira for visa fees. Before the recent increment, single and multiple entry visa fees in Lagos went between $317 and $500, while in Abuja it was between $213 and $400. Following the recent federal government directive halting the use of dollars for visa fees, Voyal Turkey, the firm handling the visa process for the Republic of Turkey, announced a new visa fee regime in the naira denomination. Switzerland's Federal Criminal Court on Wednesday sentenced Gambian former Interior Minister Ousmane Sonko to 20 years in prison for crimes against humanity. Sonko was convicted over a string of offenses committed between 2000 and 2016 under the regime of former Gambian dictator Yahya Jammeh. Reading the verdict, the clerk of the court said Sonko had been given a custodial sentence of 20 years. Sonko can appeal the verdict. State prosecutors have sought life imprisonment for Sonko at the trial of Bellinzona, northern Switzerland, which began in January. Sonko had been in Swiss custody since his arrest in January 2017 after applying for asylum following his sacking from the West African nation's government. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico was on Wednesday shot and hospitalized after the cabinet meeting on a central town in Honlova. According to Denik N. Daily, whose reporters saw the premier being lifted into a car by security guards, reported that the suspected gunman had been detained by police. The official statement said the PM was taken to a Banska Bystrica instead of the capital city because an acute intervention was necessary. President Zuzana condemned what she called a brutal and reckless attack on a 59-year-old politician. 6 people accused of helping Russia strike an apartment building in the eastern Donetsk region have been detained and charged with treason, Ukraine's SBU security service said on Wednesday. Russian Iskander missiles struck the city on 7 August 2023, killing 9 people and injuring dozens of others in an attack that damaged a residential block. According to the SBU, the suspects were recruited by Curator from the Russian military intelligence. The group also prepared coordinates for missile strike on Ukrainian bases near the city, which fell to Russian forces after heavy fighting in February, the SBU said. He said all 6 were charged with high treason and now face life imprisonment. Kyiv is cracking down on those suspected of having aided and abetted invading Russian forces since February 2022, many in its east and south. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Wednesday the United States knows the urgency of the situation in Ukraine. The Ukrainian forces will be getting the support they need. During a meeting with Ukrainian Foreign Minister, Blinken said the Biden administration is working to deliver as quickly as possible a new round of aid authorized in late April. Kuleba said his country sees the U.S. stands by Ukraine and that Ukraine will be able to endure any hardship that Russia will try to impose on them. Russia on Wednesday said its forces seized 2 more settlements in the Kyiv region, where Russian forces had been intensifying their offensive. The Russian push in northeastern Ukraine prompted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's office to announce Wednesday the cancellation of all his upcoming foreign visits. U.S. President Joe Biden challenged Donald Trump on Wednesday to make my day and hold 2 televised debates in June and September, with his Republican rival swiftly accepting. Biden, however, shunned the 3 debates proposed by the U.S. Election Debates Commission, opting using instead of 2 audience-free clashes hosted by a news organization. Biden also trolled Trump over his ongoing criminal hush money trial in New York, which features a midweek break. The Democrat and the Republican have been sparring for months over debate for years, a traditional part in any U.S. presidential election campaign, but there have been uncertainty over whether they would go ahead. Trump, who avoided any debates with his rival on the Republican presidential nomination this year, said he was ready to rumble. Biden's campaign proposed the first one-on-one debate in late June after Donald Trump's New York criminal trial is likely to be over and after President Biden returns from meeting with world leaders at the G7 summit. Nigerian music artist Habib Okikiola, popularly called Portable, has passed the night in a police cell following his failure to meet the bail conditions set for his release after he was arrested for refusing to pay the 14 million naira debt he incurred when he purchased a G-Wagon from a car dealer in Lagos State. A source who spoke to a correspondent on Wednesday confirmed the development. The source said when Portable was arrested Tuesday, bail conditions were set for his release, but he failed to meet the bail conditions. Confirming that Portable passed the night in the police cell after he was arrested, the State Police Public Relations Officer Benjamin Ondain, when contacted on Wednesday, said the musician was still in custody of police. Meanwhile, in 2 viral videos showing the moments policemen attempted to arrest Portable, our correspondent observed in one of the videos that Portable attempted to evade arrest when he fled the scene. Nigerian National League has entered into an agreement with the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria to run live commentaries of all the Super 8 playoff matches. The league's chairman, George Alio, disclosed this in a chat with NNL Media. Alio said the arrangement will offer Nigerians the opportunity to follow the games from the kickoff to the finals. He commended the largest radio network in Africa for the deal. The tournament will be held from June 7th to 14th, 2024 at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu. The 8 teams that qualified for the NNL promotional playoff are Nasarawa United, Sporting Supreme of Abuja, Sokoto United, the El Kanemi Warriors of Maiduguri. Others are Beyond Limits FC of Ikene, Madiba FC Lagos, Inter Lagos, and Ikorodu United, also of Lagos. Nigeria midfielder Wilfred Ndidi is set to open leaving Leicester City in this summer. Ndidi's contract with the Foxes will expire at the end of next month. The future of the former Genk star remains uncertain, with Leicester City yet to offer him a new contract. Several Premier League clubs and others outside England have reportedly expressed interest in the player. Indeed, he expressed his affection for the Foxes but had not ruled out the possibility of moving elsewhere. The 27-year-old joined Leicester City in January 2017. Aston Villa have qualified for Champions League for the first time after 2-4 rivals Tottenham Hotspur lost to Manchester City on Tuesday. Tottenham had been the only team who could have overtaken Villa into fourth before Tuesday, but are now 5 points behind Merseyside with 1 game remaining. Villa have not reached UEFA's Premier Club competition since it rebranded from the European Cup to the Champions League in 1991 to 92. They last played in the European Cup 41 years ago in 1982 to 83, having won the competition the season before. Villa did finish second and fourth in the Premier League in 1992 to 93 and 1995 to 96 respectively, but in both of these seasons only first was good enough to reach a Champions League. Meanwhile, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola said Arsenal aren't the Premier League champions because of Stefan Ortega. Pep Guardiola had never won a Premier League game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium before last night, and the visitors didn't start the game well. Spurs were arguably the better side for large parts of the game on Tuesday night. They could have and probably should have scored a couple of goals as well. A good opportunity to find the back of the net, but the biggest chance of the game fell to Tottenham captain. The Manchester City boss claimed after the game that if Ortega hadn't saved Son's shot, Arsenal would have been the champion. Manchester City signed Stefan Ortega